The word Devi in Sanskrit means one who makes you aware of things. Divyate prakashate anaya iti Devi. By her is lighted up the whole thing. It's not the light that we normally think of, but it is the light which makes the light and darkness also seen. So what is that Jyotisham Jyotihi? And that is only consciousness. You go to sleep, where is this world? The consciousness is not there, the world is not there. So consciousness lights up the whole world, and that is the concept of Devi.
The Divine Mother is the source. The worlds come out of her, exist because of her, and then return back into her. She is the stage upon which the play of the world goes on. She is wisdom, bliss, and consciousness incarnate.
Consciousness is the mother or the womb from which the whole material world appears. The Father is transcendent. It can't be seen, it can't be known, it just exists. The mother is the main principle of the manifesting and becoming aware. It is the womb from which the whole thing has come. The Kamakhya, the womb of the universe. Everything has come from that womb. Aham rudre virvasabhischarami ahamadityeruta vishvadehi. I am all the Rudras. I am all the Adityas, the suns. I am all the earth elements. So we see the goddess not only in the human beings, but in rocks, in mountains, in rivers, in trees, in serpents, and in birds. So in all these things we see the manifestation of the transcendent becoming manifest and becoming the goddess. So our goddess is not limited to a human figure or anything like that.
This is the story of a most unusual man who dedicated his entire life to the goddess. He gave up a successful career as a nuclear physicist to build a city dedicated to Devi. One day it will be said that a great scientist who had built his entire life on the rational ideas of science discovered the goddess. She transformed him completely and showed him how to live with the irrational and to bring the joy of discovering the sacred feminine into everyone's life, regardless of gender, caste, creed, nationality, or lifestyle. A man who dedicated his life to awakening human beings to their greatest potential. A man who wanted everyone to be happy.
I am in the business of happiness. If I exist, it's to make everybody happy. That's my purpose of life. Gananam प्रजापतिगं हवामहे कविं कवीनाम् उपमश्रवस्तमम् ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पद आनशृण्वन्नोतिभिस्सीदसादनम् श्रीमहागणाधिपतये नमः। हरिः ओम्। श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम्।
Guruji Amritananda was born Prahalada Sastry in 1934 in the port city of Visakhapatnam in southern India. His parents, Narasimha Rao and Lakshmi Narsayamma, were staunch Gandhians. His father was the first commercial photographer of the city.
He was the teacher of all the photographers in Vizag. He had a photo studio where he used to develop films. My father was a Gandhian. He used to spin his own cloth and we used to wear them. He was a very practical man. He had a practical quest and a curiosity for things which reflected in everything that he did. That I carried through. That was there in my genes.
By the age of 5, Prahalada was seeing mystical patterns and signs in nature around him.
I used to see the divine figures as patterns in the leaves of the trees, and I used to hear the music being played, and I used to hear the flute, and I used to see Krishna and small girls playing, and all these things were patterns in the environment. I could not show it to anyone, but I used to see them.
At the age of 11, everything changed for Prahalada.
And looking at the sky, and I saw suddenly some large globules coming at me and entering me, and I was afraid. And immediately I became unconscious. I think it was my first experience of my samadhi. It was wrongly diagnosed as a physical ailment and treated wrongly. I was not seeing any more of the spiritual experiences, and I lost interest in that. And then I had to wait for this my 47th year or so till I had to go through the drill of science.
Following this experience, Prahalada lost all interest in spirituality and became a dedicated student of science at Avian College. He then went on to do his BSc at Andhra University and his master's degree under the tutelage of the legendary nuclear physicist Swami Gyanananda,
who was a renowned sage. He moved in Himalayas for about 18 years naked. There are 3 of us who did the BSc honors together, joined him for MSc. He invited us to his place for a tea. And I saw the picture of this, the Kundalini and his chakras and so on. I asked him, what is this? Oh, you are interested in this. So, it will catch up with you sometime later, not now. He recognized the spark of divinity in me. And he told me that you will come back to it later, not now.
On August 2nd, 1957, Prahalada married Annapurna Gunturu. He was 23 and she was 16.
See, when about 10, 11, she came once to my house. She was 5 at that time, 5 years old. And she was reading some stanzas from some book called Rukmini Kalyanam. I liked the way she was reading and I liked her. And I made up my mind at that time that I'll marry this girl. So when the suggestions for marriage came, I said, I already set my mind on the girl I want to marry. And I told my father and mother that I'm going to get this marry this girl. I'm not looking at any other girl. She was a pretty young thing at that time. And I fell in love with her. But it was strange. I think it is arranged by the goddess that I should marry a person. Love at that age is not normal. It must have been predetermined in some way or the other.
Amma, as she later became lovingly known, was a rock in his life and became his constant companion in all his journeys through personal, scientific, and spiritual quests.
She had to face the struggles with me physically, financially, spiritually, all these things. So she had to find the right partner for me.
Guruji and Amma had 3 daughters, Ananta Lakshmi, Radha, and Rama, or as Guruji liked to call them, his 3 goddesses.
Okay?
Dad, on your birthday, I just want to thank you for everything you have done for me. And inside, lots of things are there.
Lots of things are there.
Sweets and hots and snacks. Happy birthday, lots of love, overflowing with Devi's blessings, best wishes, Jyoti. Love you, Daddy Rama. Lots of love, Ananta. Lots of love and hugs to Tataya, Pallavi. Happy birthday, Tataya. Vishku. Dearest Daddy. And
Radha, you say
and
your message
the
now.
dearest Mummy. Okay, there you go.
Now what you need to do is, this is a hamper. So we've tried to put some different things into it.
Okay.
What you need to do is close your eyes and okokati you have to remove one by one and then tell us what it is and then you can open your eyes.
Okay.
Okay? No, it's okay. He'll do it. Close your eyes. Now put your hand in and okay. Now take that out. Now take that out. Okay. So what's that?
Taco dinner kit.
So the taco dinner kit is because you love everything,
Fried.
fried and spicy and crunchy and especially different kinds of cuisines.
I love food. I love relishes actually.
Yes, this is one which I thought, and Amma actually was reading it yesterday. Children are inclined to take their dad for granted. But today we want to give you all the thank yous for all the things we did together when we were very small, for the laughter and the patience and the quiet comfort. Thank you, Dad.
Thank you. Thank you for remembering all these things and putting it in paper.
The most important.
Yes.
My lover.
Open it.
There you go.
Packan pettunnadu.
And I think that is she.
Okay.
For a few years, we couldn't get a proper house and all. So afterwards, we are okay. But wherever he is, I am happy. That's all. That's my
constant companion.
Even he wants to resign his job also. I never said no. Okay, wherever you go, I follow with our kids. That's it.
William. One minute. Very good.
In 1956, Prahalada Sastry was offered a place at the prestigious Tata Institute of Fundamental Research in Bombay. The institute was founded by the father of Indian nuclear physics, Homi Bhabha, and was home to India's leading scientific minds. During his tenure at the Tata Institute, he completed his PhD thesis at Bombay University in quantum physics. His work was recognized as advanced theoretically, but something inside him wanted to work in applied sciences.
I asked, what is the worth of this paper that we are doing? What is what practical use? And I thought, okay, I must apply my ideas to some applied science, not pure research. It must have some practical value. It must do something good for the people. So doing something good for the happiness of that is there at the back of the mind. It is there. The spiritual curiosity and driving force were that.
On a work-related visit to Hyderabad in 1978, Guruji had a most unusual and divine experience that would prove to be the turning point in his life.
I got up at 4 o'clock and started walking blindly. And I found some steps going up to the Naubat Pahad in Hyderabad. Early morning, about 4:30, 5 o'clock in that morning. And I saw the Bala Murti there in front. There was an old man in front of me who prostrated before me. That somehow acted as a trigger for me. I used to question, once I became a scientist, it was scientific arrogance was there. So what is this? This has no meaning. And at that time I prostrated without knowing what I was doing. I had a thrill going through my body. So that excitement of seeing the goddess was haripulation all over the body, and seeing a vision of the Bala Tripura Sundari in my mind's eye. And then I came back and I started thinking, maybe I'm missing out something on ignoring the spiritual aspect. And that was the transformation point.
Guruji contemplated the way forward, and a part of him remembered how he used to see divine patterns and hear divine sounds as a child.
I remembered my younger days. I was getting those experiences. I was able to talk to God outside goddesses. I used to play with them. What happened to all that? I used to remember there was sound going inside my heart. It was anahata, about 300 hertz. It's somehow connected with the background radiation coming from the Big Bang. I was curious as to what is happening here.
Guruji began to sit and meditate for the first time in over 35 years. He began by listening to the sound within him.
After hearing that sound, I used to go down and see where is that sound coming from. I go down, the frequency keeps going down. At the lowest place, you are like a throbbing of the 10 cycles per second. And then when it comes to here, it used to feel like a little warmth. It was para and pashyanti. And this is madhyama. And then it goes up in frequency and becomes vaikhari. The branch that comes out through the mouth and the branch that experiences light.
Finally, after a few days of intense meditation and listening, Guruji had a dramatic breakthrough.
So I started sitting on my bed in the middle of the night. I used to wake up and my wife was lying next to me, and I used to sit and meditate. I used to hear that, and after some time I blanked out. I did not know. I became unconscious. And suddenly there was an explosion, as if a bomb has been placed in my heart, and a huge emanation of light came. I felt I was bits and pieces of me were being thrown out to the ends of the galaxies. A ball of light, a huge explosion of light, the great sound, kind of things. Maybe like a Big Bang. I was afraid that maybe I'm dying. So what is this happening? Can meditation lead to death? If I die, who is going to look after my wife, and who is going to look after my children, who is going to provide for them? I stopped doing meditation. But after 1 week, I started arguing with myself. But I did not die, did I? So then I decided to continue with the meditation. And this time, it was not like this again. It was a different experience. The experience was, I felt some small vibration-like thing started at the base of the root chakra, and then something started coming up. As it was coming up, I felt a warm tingling sensation. And when it was going up in between, I had this arousal. Yes. Pleasant arousal was there. Then when it came here, it becoming a little warm. When it came here, it was the familiar madhyama. But when it started moving from here to here, it became like a roar of a volcano. And I was sitting on top of a volcano, and there's a huge rush of lava coming out and pushing me out of myself. At that time, I prayed to Saraswati. I said, Saraswati Namastabhyam Varade Kamarupani Vidyarambam Karshyam Siddhirbhavat Mesa. The stanza which I used to recite when I was a child. Padma Patra Vishalakshi Padma Kesa Varnini Nityam Padmalaya Devi Samam Pad Saraswati. Then she appeared in front of me. I asked her, what's happening to me? She said, I'm giving you an experience, take it. What experience? I am being like a tiger is sitting on me and you are telling me not to be afraid. It's not possible. He said, don't worry. I am going to give you some experiences. You take them and you learn through the experiences. And there will be a few blocks in you which stop you from being who you are. And you will have some terrible experiences in the beginning, but they'll gradually fade away, and then you will be having better interactions with me. With that assurance in hand, and she said, if you are ever in trouble, think of me and I will be there for you.
In the year following, Saraswati Devi began to give Guruji not just tremendous experiences, but also information from another dimension and reality. He was able to download entire scriptures and patterns all into his mind's eye and later verify them at the library in Bombay.
After the explosion, there's something like a white screen in front of my eyes. And that screen had some letters, Sanskrit letters written on that. And there were about 20 lines there. Before I could read the first half of the first line, which was Ishavasya Sarvam. Then the thing vanished. It was too fast. I didn't know it was Ishavasya Upanishad. But then I started getting visions of the goddess. She used to say, you should learn more, study these books. She used to give me books to read. I used to take those books, read them in the mind. I used to learn Sanskrit when I was very young, from the age of 5 to about 11 or so. At that time, I got interested in spiritual science and I joined the Bombay University Library, which was YMCA. I used to go there and pick up some book. Invariably it used to happen. It was the book which I read before. In my meditation, when I pick up, it is there. And the first book I picked up was Ishavasya Upanishad. And then my scientific mind started crumbling. It was never under my control. I cannot invoke it by myself. And not even when I am meditating, just someplace I am sitting and closing my eyes, it is there. And I had to enjoy what I say.
The construct of rationality that Guruji had built his entire scientific life on began crumbling away, and step by step, Devi was giving him information and experiences that were beyond space and time, beyond matter and energy, and could only be described as universal consciousness.
And then a thought came to me, why should God be rational? Why can't he be irrational? So I started pursuing on that line of argument, which is not the scientific inquiry anymore. It is a different kind of an inquiry, being open to irrationality. We are doing Gayatri Homam, and since we did the Dattatreya Pratishtha today morning, we will be doing 108 times Dattatreya Homam, and then Ayushya Homa. And today happened to be my birthday, so I decided to do the Ayushya Homam. And there are some sponsors here, are going to sit here, and they will have Kalasham. Into the Kalasham, they will be putting Panchamritas. And the results of the Homa will be put into this Kalasham. At the end of it, they will take them to the top of Sahasrakshi Amma and they will Abhishekam to the the main goddess there of the Chakra.
ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं ऐं क्लीं सौः हंसशिवसोऽहं हस्तप्रेम अशक्षमल्वयों असौ सहक्षमल्वयीं सहो स्वरूपरूपणवे स्वगुरवे श्रीअन्नपूर्णाम्बासिका श्री अमृतानन्दनाथ श्री गुरुश्रीपादुकां पूजयामि तर्पयामि नमः ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं ऐं क्लीं सौः हंसशिवसोऽहं हस्तप्रेम अशक्षमल्वयों असौ सहक्षमल्वयीं सहो स्वरूपरूपणवे स्वगुरवे श्रीअन्नपूर्णाम्बासिका श्री अमृतानन्दनाथ श्री गुरुश्रीपादुकां पूजयामि तर्पयामि नमः.
Guruji Amritananda taught the ancient technique of connecting one's inner being to Devi, or the Supreme Mother Goddess, called Sri Vidya Upasana.
This body is a temple in which the goddess of called life lives. And she sees through your eyes, hears through your ears, and speaks through your mouth, and all the Shaktipitas are limbs in your body. So forget that you are a human being and become identical with Devi. In Sri Vidya, there is no distinction between the goddess and the person who is doing the puja or receiving the puja. Soham bhavena means I am you and you are me.
The origins of Sri Vidya lie in deep antiquity. It is said that the Vedic sage Agastya received the teachings of Sri Vidya from Hayagriva, the horse-headed manifestation of Lord Vishnu in the Vedic age. Hayagriva gave Agastya many teachings about Sri Vidya and ended his discourse by teaching him the Sri Lalita Sahasranama, or worship of the divine as the mother goddess.
So the transmission has come from age-old Hayagriva to, from the Vedas to the Tantras, the Upanishads, these things. Basic theorem is expand your consciousness. So expansion of consciousness, whatever helps you in that process, is moving up and down your different chakras, or visualizing the chakra in your mind, drawing it in your mind. So all these mental activities which take you away from the physical activities and take you deep inside, enable you to stand outside of yourself and start observing yourself. So I feel personally that there is a great value of in the Sri Vidya, because it connects up science and spirituality. And no other thing connects it up so deeply and so well as is established. I think it has come from the gods and goddesses themselves. I'm 100% sure of that.
Guruji's first and most important and direct teachers were the goddesses Saraswati and Kamakhya themselves, who appeared to him and gave him divine wisdom, experiences, and teachings for his spiritual evolution and information and constant guidance in the building of Devipuram. Guruji became aware of the ancient legacy he was a part of after his experiences and received guidance and initiation from two great human teachers. His first teacher was Sri B. Krishnamurti, who was an orthodox practitioner of Sri Vidya and taught Guruji how to perform elaborate and complex Vedic rituals. Guruji's other very important teacher was Anakkapalli Guru Garu, a radical practitioner of Sri Vidya who believed in no rules and was happy to teach everyone. Saraswati Devi revealed a stanza to Guruji and asked him to take it to Guru Garu. This revelation convinced Guru Garu, and he in turn initiated Guruji and gave him the Diksha Namam of Sri Amritananda Natha Saraswati. Guruji, who had been consumed with doubts about taking up the building of the temple in the form of a Sri Yantra, massive project, sought the counsel of Guru Garu. Though Guru Garu initially advised against it, at the bidding of the mother, he was instrumental in giving Guruji the final go-ahead to build the temple and blessed Guruji with the powers of his accumulated sadhana. In 1978, Guruji gave Diksha to his first Shishya, Srimati Sundari, who was also his sister-in-law.
In olden days, Sri Chakra or Sri Meru Yantram is known only to few those who are interested in Devi worship. But because of this temple in Devipuram today, all the people, irrespective of their class, creed or language, from nearby villages, everyone knows about Sri Chakra.
In 1981, Guruji took a teaching job in Zambia, and it was here that he met his first male student and realized that he was now on the path to becoming a guru.
I had met my first disciple, Aya, Haran, in Zambia. There was another person called Bal Subramaniam, who was an engineer. He said there is a person who knows Sanskrit, and so let's go to this place where Lalita Swami is being read. And I went there. And after listening to that, they are doing some mistakes. I made the mistake of correcting them. And that was the starting point of my becoming a guru. Then he caught hold of, here is one man who knows, and you should catch him. He was trying to get this Sri Vidya Diksha from so many gurus. Every one of them refused. You are not a Brahmin, you are not eligible for this, you should not be doing this, you are a non-vegetarian, you are a singer in a nightclub, and you are not eligible for this. He came, and I said yes. He was immensely, he did not understand that I was accepting him as a disciple. He was overjoyed, and then gave him the mantras of Sri Vidya. I argued, if God is there, it is for everyone. If happiness and bliss is the ultimate goal, why should it not be the property that everyone aspires for? I become a guru, but I don't want to be a guru. I want to be more like a friend who is nudging you, not forcing you to follow this path. A guru, I felt, should not be a person who stands between God and you and take the place of God. I always felt that a guru should be behind you, pushing you towards God. I would give you whatever it needed to help you to reach your goal. And there I find more happiness. In making you realize, making you advanced, I find my real happiness. I exist to make you happy. So the focus has shifted from me to you. And really, whenever the focus has shifted from ahankara to mahat, great advances have taken place. My life's mission is written here in stone and rock for you all to see. And you have seen how I have been living, Spartan, passionate, and trying to share what I had as a vision with you. And a lot of you share this vision, and you want to spread this knowledge worldwide.
I think this place has a life of its own because Devi is here. One thing I find with Guruji is he will never tell you to do step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. He will get you to 100 like that in one step.
Quantum Guru. Jump across. I came back and I wanted to go back to not defense work but pure research. I was convinced that pure research has a value of its own, even if it's not useful. At least as an intellectual quest, it had a value, and they would not allow me to go back.
He returned to his old house in Vishakhapatnam with very little money, a family to support, 3 daughters to raise, and a strong inner calling to move in a spiritual direction.
I knew I could survive. Some blind faith, a leap of faith. And my wife did not object to what I did.
And I said, where you are happy, I will be happy. And children, as normal children also will be happy. So no problem. So wherever you are, if you are in a jungle, I will be with you. If you are in a town, I will be there, wherever. So I will be happy and I will make you happy.
So I needed some where to begin and how to go about the imaginations or views, visions she is showing me. Will you build this temple for me, this temple for me, this temple for me? Very, very complicated designs like Angkor Wat and stuff like that. I said, I can't handle that kind of a thing. You show me something simpler. Okay, then she showed me this form of the Sri Chakra Meru that is there now. Well, this seems doable. I said, okay, fine. Then we'll fix on that. I asked her, where do you begin? She said, you conduct a yajna. Conduct a ritual, sacrifice, for 15 days.
In 1982, Guruji conducted the Devi Yagyam with 108 Ritviks for 16 continuous days. On the 3rd day of the Yagyam, Guruji miraculously received a gift of 3 acres of land. This would one day become Devipuram, the city of the goddess.
There was about 3 acres of land was donated at that time. And I used to walk this 1 kilometer road and go up the hill. I found this triangular formation of a triangular cut in the rock. This resembled the Kamakhya Yoganipith. I said, this is interesting. I thought this was a good place to begin with. And I was looking for confirmation. I didn't have a transport at that time. I used to get on top of trucks and lorries and come from Vizag to this place. I started sitting there and meditate there. After 4th day or 5th day, I was deep in meditation and I found jingling bells of a girl, anklets moving. A huge ball of light was there. And that condensed into an iridescent form of the goddess surface. And the surface was like, in the Shri Suktam there is Hiranyavarnam Harinayam Suvarna Rajasrajam, like thin threads of gold and silver, Suvarna Rajasrajam. It was made out of electric shocks that are going around, that was that form. It was a fabric, and I later on connected with the fabric of the cosmos. She looked like a 16-year-old girl. She was filled with the ornaments. She was like a bridal attire. She said, will you do puja to me? I said, what higher fortune can I have than doing puja to you? Then she did something very unexpected. She bowed down to my feet and I was surprised. You are going to be a guru and your people are going to bow down at your feet. I am in all the people. This is the significance of that. She said, look at the sky, and the clouds formed around that place. And then there was rain. And with the rain, in the rain we walked she took me by hand and walked to the place where, this is the place where you are going to set up the Meru temple for me. I am the mother and is going to be the child. And the mother Kamakhya here. And this is a child, it will have Rajarajeshwari, Lalita, Mahatrivara Sundari at the center. It will be the form of a Meru with all the Khatgamala deities installed in their places, and everything should receive puja every day. Then she took me back and completed the puja, and she vanished back into the rocks.
Throughout the following years, she would be his constant companion, helping him bring together the vision of Devipuram.
So she was my constant partner. I had no engineer. I was not an engineer myself. as a physicist. And how do I know how many rods I must put in the beams, how many rods I should put in the slabs, and what spacing must be there, and nothing of these things I knew. And no engineer would come from Vizag and stay here and do the work for me. I said, okay, I rely on Devi, and Devi is engineering. So I used to ask the questions to that little girl who was always with me, and she used to give, okay, you try this 16 mm rod. At that level, the interaction was so close for these 11 years, and it was at the end of it, when we during the 11 years, about 4 years were spent in building the geometrical structure, which I was not certain it was going to take the load, but anyway it stood. And then I went ahead and started building the Khadgamala deities. And how do I build them? Only the names are there, nothing else is available, information. She said, you meditate on them. You meditate on them with their names. I used to do that for about 15, 20 days or 1 month. And then she would appear to me in the form that I had to do Pratishtha. That way, every deity that I had was visualized, seen before she was kept there. We are going to demonstrate the postures, dance movements for the 64 upacharas, which forms the second part of Lalita Navavarana Puja. Aim Hriam Shim Ridhai Padyam Kalpayami Namaha. Aim Hriam Shim Ridhai Abharanavarapanam Kalpayami Namaha. Aim Hriam Shim Ridhai Sugandhi Taila Abhyanganam Kalpayami Namaha. Aim Hriam Shim Ridhai Majjanashala Praveshanam Kalpayami Namaha. Aim Hriam Shim Ridhai Ekavalim Kalpayami Namaha. Aim Hriam Shim Ridhai Channaveram Kalpayami Namaha.
Devipuram, the city of the goddess, sits just outside the coastal Indian city of Vishakhapatnam. Built across 12 acres of lush forests and beautiful hills in the southern Indian state of Andhra Pradesh, Devipuram is a sacred temple site dedicated to the goddess, an ashram or haven of peace and tranquility, and a research center dedicated to exploring the sacred feminine. The magic of Devipuram is that it is open to everyone, and no matter what your origin, gender, caste, creed, or the lifestyle you lead, you can come and learn the once secret practices of Sri Vidya Upasana, the oldest and most ancient form of Devi or goddess worship in India.
Sri Vidya connects your body to the cosmos. It's a mapping, and ultimately it's supposed to bring the connection between you and Devi.
Guruji founded Devipuram to make these teachings, once controlled exclusively by male Brahmin priests, available to everyone. Devipuram is the vision of Guruji Amritananda, a nuclear scientist who had a spiritual awakening at the age 47 that changed his life completely. Today, he tries to bridge the gap between science and spirituality in his teachings and sees the nature of the goddess clearly reflected in the discoveries of quantum physics.
The universal consciousness is all there is, but it admits of different fields of awareness called Shakti Pitas inside it. So the wave is a spiritual part and the particle is a physical part.
Guruji built Devipuram with his wife Annapurna Amma and was often found teaching, initiating and blessing visitors, meeting students, working on his computer, recording courses, and attending to the rituals and activities of the ashram. Devipuram was very much a revelation given to Guruji by Devi, and he built it up with his own hands over 38 years. Amma was Guruji's constant companion and today still manages the ashram's day-to-day life. Truly a mother to everyone.
I used to sit outside here only, but I know wherever, whatever, what is going on, what the children are doing, whether they are cleaning the rooms or washing the vessels. I used to know.
At the heart of Devipuram sits the beautiful Sri Chakra Meru temple, dedicated to Bala Tripura Sundari. It is the first temple in the world designed in the style of a three-dimensional Sri Chakra Meru, using sacred geometries given to Guruji by Devi herself, and the journey around and upwards takes devotees on a journey into their deepest selves, to be blessed at the very top by the goddess Shri 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 Sahasrakshi Raja Rajeshwari Devi. Devotees and students come here from all over the world to be initiated into Sri Vidya Upasana and to experience communion with both Devi and Guruji. They participate in all aspects of spiritual life here, through meditation or the repetition of a mantra as given by Guruji, Amma or other teachers, tarpanas or ritual offerings to the goddess, yantra pujas using sacred geometries, chants and hand mudras, homam burning fires to invite the goddesses to participate in the rituals, abhishekam or ritual preparation and bathing of Lord Ganesha and the goddess, and annadana or the service and feeding of all guests and devotees. In addition, there are regular teachings, workshops and courses, and a dedicated research center into the worship of Devi, led by teachers from around the world. Beyond the temple complex on the hill is the home of Kamakhya, the mother, the womb from which all creation manifests. These were the first stones that Guruji Amritananda discovered when he was first given this land, and it was here that he first encountered the Devi that guided his journey. She is the mother from which the whole city arose.
We have chakras in our body. So when we recite, when we invoking the kalas in the person, we touch that body parts.
The Kamakhya pujas done are cleansing, purifying, and empowerment rituals for the devotee seeking spiritual purification and experiences. Wherever there is Devi, there must also be Lord Shiva, and at the top of the hill above the Kamakhya temple is the Shivalaya temple complex, housing the original linga that Guruji had made in Devipuram. Further, beyond Kamakhya is the Dakshavati, which houses 1,365 Shiva lingas and a major black linga where regular ceremonies are held throughout the year. The Sri Vilas Center is the newest addition to the Devipuram complex and includes a major conference hall, smaller conference and workshop rooms, 50 residential rooms for devotees and visitors, and a dining hall for up to 100 diners at any time. The Devipuram kitchen produces meals 3 times every day for all residents and guests.
We never know at what time how many people will be coming, and they are given free food. We had to be ready, and we don't get anything here. But the power of Devi here makes us do, and nothing becomes less. An experience to work here. The energy levels are so high, and how things manifest, you will really experience that magic.
Devipuram is also a research and social development center and home to the Sri Vidya Trust, which has focused on women empowerment low-cost housing, non-formal education for children, and media outreach programs. Guruji, a firm believer in empowerment, also educated local girls and women in the practices of Sri Vidya.
The whole concept of women empowerment, you're talking about goddess and you're talking about goddess worship, and the central idea in goddess worship is about revering her, and not just through rituals, again through a social mode. Now if you're talking about basic needs, now that is where the whole social aspect of the trust, the Sri Vidya trust started coming in. It's not just the social and the spiritual as separate again. It is again a very careful interweaving of these two in such a way that you're trying to see how one influences the other.
This has also been broadened to provide livelihood support and training, education, and microloans to women across the district through its sister organization, the Jagrati Cooperative Society.
Guruji explained us, woman is the best administrator in the house. Then why don't we develop a woman as a financial support in their house? So we started with this activity with one person in 1992. Now we are covering around 13,000 women families in and around of Sabavaram Mandal and around 4 mandals of Vizag district.
Guruji's idea is Sri Vidya Trust should be a temple of learning, be it spiritual, be it technical, be it whatever it is. Based on the people who are interested, they can take it forward. Mainly in Devipuram campus, you will see the spiritual orientation and spiritual part of it, which is not available in any part of the world. The other one is this thrift and credit, where we have gone ahead and still it is continuing. That is. Other one is TC has given certain use computers for us to our trust. Computer based functional literacy program where the women who can speak Telugu but can't read and write. We have taken these to the villages and given to them, 50-60 villages, and many have used the opportunity.
Many people live permanently at Devipuram, and many structures are being built to house them, include Sri Villa. Today, it is a living, vibrant ashram, temple, research center, and community dedicated to Devi. The sacred feminine has been brought alive at Devipuram. The spiritual quest is the fundamental driving force to find our true selves. Guruji believed it is this quest that triggers all sadhana and enlightenment.
Spirituality is a quest, a deep quest in every human being to find out where everything has come from and where it's going and what is my role in that. Why am I created? What is the purpose of my existence? This deep quest that is called spirituality.
The first question the seeker must ask on the spiritual quest is, who am I? For it is through that question that great wisdom is revealed.
Who am I? Whether I am half a female or half male, whether I am half full or half empty. And the answer to the question is that I am totally empty. And then I have to go back to this question again and again and again and keep on drinking this, filling up myself with joy. The male aspect of me is a sense of I, which is permanent, unchanging. All that I see, all that I know, all that I experience is my female part. The question is whether I am the seer, the male, the Shiva, or whether I am the Shakti, the seen.
Guruji Amritananda believes that there are two paths one can take in the spiritual quest: meditation and satsang.
So what is meditation, if we start from that? And what is its purpose? The purpose is to give you a peace of mind and take you to a tranquil state where you are in resonance with yourself. Meditation tends to take you inside of yourself and you start seeing yourself. Antarmukha. Let us say every 4 seconds I take a breath and every 4 seconds I am having a new thought. There are about 21,600 thoughts during the day and night. We got to reduce the number of thoughts. Can we reduce the number of thoughts to 1,000 per day? Can we reduce it to 100 per day? Can we reduce it to 10 per day? Can we reduce it to 1 per day? So, the function of meditation is to reduce the number of thoughts in a given time. Think about only one thing, and that one thing that you are allowed to think about is mantra. The concept of mantra is when the mind wants to think, you allow it to say the mantra.
The path of meditation Guruji teaches is the path of Sri Vidya Upasana, the worship of universal consciousness as the goddess.
Sri Vidya means seeing beauty everywhere, seeing abundance everywhere, where there is misery or happiness, where there is beauty or ugliness, having equanimity and being choiceless and experiencing whatever is given to you as the ultimate bliss. That is the thing taught by Sri Vidya. So you see, that connection has been made to who you are really, and that is the essence of Sri Vidya. Essence of Sri Vidya is to realize that the deepest part of you is embedded inside the not so deep part of you. The waves are embedded in the ocean. Ocean is a deep one. Waves on the surface. But these two are together. You cannot say this is important, that's not important, that's important, this is not important. To be able to see the beauty in this and that. And that is taught by Sri Vidya. Sri Chakra is the yantra. It's a geometrical diagram. There is one set of a set of lotuses inside of you, then the body. So if you try to map all of these things, the Sri Chakra into the lotuses, into the body and to the cosmos, it becomes too complicated. So let's forget about Sri Chakra as a geometrical diagram to start with, but work with and forget about the lotuses, just work with the parts of the body. This is the concept of the Kaula Marga. Kaula Marga realizes your body and equation between your body and the cosmos. Devi is yourself. What is inside of you and seeing through you is the Devi outside of you. So how do you see the Devi that is inside of you? So these channels, you are connecting on one side the Devi and the other side the consciousness on one side. Now this consciousness can be having many fields of awareness inside that. These fields of awarenesses are called the Devis. They are the Shaktis. The energy flows. So through the small and known, you will try to reach the unknown. It's called Shakha Chankramana Nyaya. Means somebody who does not know there is a moon, you say, hey, look behind that branch of the tree, you will find the moon there. The branch of the tree is not the moon. But if you look at it that way, then you will see the moon. So you can say it's an index, it's a pointer too. It's a placeholder for the moon. It's not the actual sting. The Sri Chakra is a map. It maps the geometry of the cosmos. It maps the cosmos. And it maps your body into it. It maps your life into it. So we live actually in 3 different bodies, not one. The Sri Chakra consists of 9 layers. Outermost layer consists of 3, the square, the 16 petals, and 8 petals constitute the the first level of 3 layers. And the 14 corners, 10 corners and another 10 corners represent the next 3 layers. And 8 corners, the triangle and the bindu constitute the remaining 3, the last 3. The first 3 constitute our physical body and our physical existence separated from the cosmos. And the circle represents the death, where you are leaving your physical body and entering into the astral body. The potentials called Bala Tripasundari, which is not yet manifested anything. It has got potential to manifest the universe, but it's not manifested yet. Those are the Ashtakona, Trikona and the Bindu. The central triangle is called Maha Tripura Sundari. Maha means great, Tripura, the 3 states, waking, dreaming and sleeping. Sundari, manifestation of beauty. So its beauty beyond all these things is in the Bindu, where she is not distinct from the Shiva. The triangle is at the 3rd eye and Bindu is Sahasrara. The first level is supposed to be feet of the Divine Mother. When you see it, when you sit on the ground, you sit cross-legged. So it's like a triangle. So the legs are like this, the shoulders, and they form an upward triangle. This up, as you go up in the triangle, the horizontal base is coming down and down and down, which means the base is reducing. You are from being 1, you are going back to 0. So the traverse from up to down is called Shakti, and from down to up is called Shiva. Shiva triangles are supposed to be upward, and Shakti triangles are to be downward. The body is the temple in which the goddess lives. Every limb of it carries a certain power, and these powers are located at these places. And it's important in Sri Vidya Upasana to realize that if you go to a Shakti Pit and the entrance door is closed, the power is not manifest. You stand outside the temple, it's not the same thing as being inside the temple. So the doors of the Shakti Pits have to be opened before you can contact that thing. That's why the loss of sense of ego or shame has to be there. Devipuram has the Sri Chakra as its center. There's a temple of Sri Chakra, built exactly in the form of Sri Chakra, showing all the 108 Shakti Pitas in physical form as well as embedded in a geometrical form. This is first Sri Chakra in the whole world where you can actually walk into and see the forms of the goddess and interacting with them, sit in front of them, meditate on them, do puja to them, do homams in front of them, and do upasana for each of these deities.
Sri Vidya Upasana has 5 important parts: Japa, Puja, Tarpana, Homa and Shanti, and these help the sadhaka in manifesting Shakti. Each of these 5 manifests different elements of the Shakti. Japa manifests Shrota Shabda and Vak, corresponding to Vishuddhi Chakra. Puja manifests the skin Sparsha and hands, corresponding to the Anahata Chakra. Homa forms the eyes, Rupa and legs, corresponding to Manipura Chakra. Tarpana manifests the Jiva Rasa and genital, corresponding to Swadhisthana Chakra. Shanti helps in manifesting the Ghrana Gandha and Payu, corresponding to Mooladhara Chakra. After doing Upasana with these 5 parts, the Shakti comes alive in front of the sadhaka. According to Guruji Amritananda, the opening of the human consciousness to its universal nature as the still mind in its ultimate state as Shiva is what satsang is all about.
So far we were discussing through meditation how to connect to the goddess. In satsang, we are trying to connect to the God. Sat means the truth, the invariant, the constant, unchanging thing. Sang means attachment to. Attachment to the true, unvarying. The attachment to Shiva is satsang. Attachment to Shakti is meditation. So satsang is being detached. So maintaining a witness attitude towards everything that you see is important for satsang. Mantra is expansion of awareness. And awareness is essentially a quantum phenomena. It cannot come from a classical phenomena. Because awareness means that it observes. And when that observes, observed changes from a position of not being observed before, now it is observed. So the transformation of the observed, depending on the presence of an observer, is basically a quantum phenomenon.
Satsang at Devipuram is achieved through communion with nature, silent meditation, study, deep states of consciousness, expansion, and listening to the sounds within and without. One becomes Shiva at Devipuram and discovers universal consciousness and indescribable bliss or Ananda. On 10th October 2015, Guruji Amritananda gave up his mortal coil and transcended up into the arms of the Universal Mother. He returned to the cosmic womb from which he had come and which had guided so much of his life.
Many people come up to us and ask us, okay, so now that Guruji is no longer here, how do you plan on taking things forward? Well, firstly, the answer that we give them is, who says Guruji is not here? He is here. He is in the trees. He is in Sahasrakshi Devi. He is at Kamakhya. He appears to us sometimes as an old elderly couple who come to the temple seeking the mother's blessings. It is this way in which we can actually identify and follow his principle of seeing the mother, seeing divinity in each and every single human being.
I have come to realize that she is the key player, not me. And she is everyone. And she is asserting her will. And that will is supreme. Nobody can stop that will.
In his 38-year mission to build Devipuram and teach Sri Vidya to everyone, thousands from around the world have been affected by his wisdom. And today, the energy of the goddess spreads around the world. Guruji Amritananda's legacy lives on in Devipuram, a city for the goddess, a sacred place of energy, a sanctuary, a temple, a jewel in the lotus where anyone can come and find peace and harmony in nature and connect with their highest selves.
I see it like a jewel set in a lotus. A jewel in a lotus. We call it Manidvipam. It's also a Buddhist concept, Om Mani Padme Hum. So the beauty, aesthetics, the music of the lotus, you can feel the lotus on the waters and gentle breeze fluttering its leaves, and you can see the beautiful colors and lovable nature, peaceful, lovable, quiet, and tranquil and takes you into a different state of your mind. I had a vision of this Manidvevam. The Manidvevam looks like the body of the goddess. From the Shiva hill to the temple, it's all one body. The face, then the breast, and then at the navel, this one is there.
Guruji's dream of a Mani Dvipam continues to evolve, and today, led by the energies of the Sri Vidya Trust he established, Devipuram continues to be the world's leading center for learning Sri Vidya. In keeping with his vision, Devipuram is managed by women and men, allows people from all castes, religions, ethnicities, and lifestyles to come and share in the divine energy, and teaches the purest and easiest forms of ritual worship of Sri Vidya Upasana ever seen in India.
There are 4 basic things that we will be taking forward. Sahasrakshi Rajarajeshwari Devi, who is the Moola Virat here, she is the Peethadipati. This is her Peetham, and she will be taking this whole Matam forward. So how do we proceed from here? The very first thing is a set of principles. What are those principles? Being open to each and every single person who comes to seek the knowledge of Sri Vidya, regardless of gender, regardless of their caste, regardless of their religion or creed or faith. The second thing that we would like to base our work on is the path. The path that we choose is one again which is inclusive. It is not catering to only a small niche of individuals, but it is going to be a mix of Samyachara, Dakshinachara and Kaulachara. At Devipuram, we continue to have different kinds of archanas or pujas, rituals for different gods and goddesses residing in the Devipuram complex. For example, there are certain months which are auspicious for Devi, for Mahalakshmi, in February or in August, say for example, where we conduct special events in order to celebrate the mother in all her glory, and we invite all the village people surrounding the area to come and do puja for the mother, so that they too can take back home the mother in one way or the other, and take back the glory and take back the Aishwaryam or the prosperity into their homes. It is not merely pujas or rituals that we conduct at Devipuram. Guruji's very strong wish was to see every single person empowered. So we have 2 major empowerment rituals. One which is called the Siri Jyoti, and the other which is called Kalavahana. There are many disciples of Guruji who continue to do these empowerment rituals in the UK or South Africa or the US or Canada, and thus reach out to so many more people and bring them into the Sri Vidya fold.
In keeping with Guruji's vision of a community of teachers and learners working together, Devipuram plans to initiate Amrita Bindu centers around the world.
So in this fashion, we are creating centers across the globe which will operate on an informal basis, but will continue to retain that organic link with Devipuram.
Guruji always dreamt of building an online Devipuram with all resources related to Sri Vidya, and the community would thrive through a virtual open university online.
We are creating a digital knowledge repository which will contain all of his teachings, whether they are in the video format or the audio format or as documents, and shall make them accessible to people on a searchable mode. Most importantly, make accessible in an easy way, because everybody is not technology friendly. The 4th part of our plan is actually to make Sri Vidya, or the teaching of Sri Vidya, accessible to everybody. We will be starting with these online courses in such a way that people are able to learn at their own pace and in their own language. It would be necessary for us to train trainers, that is, train people who are already sadhakas themselves, but have the flair and the inclination to teach others.
By fulfilling these plans, Devipuram will one day become Guruji Amritananda's long-cherished dream of a real money dweepam.
We don't spend enough time on ourselves. We don't spend enough time on our friends. We don't socialize. The Facebook is not the same thing as face-to-face. If people get together, much more beauty can be there. People understand each other, there can be much more aesthetics. And I think aesthetics is the essence of the goddess. The loving, caring, nourishing. Just go and be in tune with nature. I want people to come, enjoy spirituality naturally and in nature, in resonance with that, and let their finer instincts come up. That was the vision I had. I am in the business of happiness. If I exist, it's to make everybody happy. That's my purpose of life.